Hello, Flosstube.
Greetings.
I'm Laura.
I joked.
Welcome to the Slovak Farm.
Let me see. It's welcome back, all of our current subscribers. Hello to all y'all new people. And this is where we talk about cross stitch, which is basically cross stitching a bunch of X's or variations of X's, and sometimes straight lines until you make a pretty picture.
That's fabulous explanation of cross stitching, darling.
Yep. If you're more curious, enter Flosstube in your search bar. You've been warned.
You've been warned. I watched a horrible video today on punch needle.
Well, of course, anybody who thinks punching needles, that's gonna hurt.
If you know what punch needle is, he doesn't know what punch needle is. It was a horrible video. We won't talk about it. But anyways, today's Monday, February 17th. Today's President's Day. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Politics, no.
Friday was Valentine's Day. Hey, that's what I said. That's all I'm going to say about that. Friday was Valentine's Day. We hope you had a wonderful Valentine's Day, whether you celebrated or not.
Did I do good?
I got lots of chocolate.
What kind of chocolate?
I got white chocolate and chocolate-covered strawberries and Rice Krispie treat.
Never guess what the 3 check boxes for her favorite desserts are.
And my brother and his circus were up this weekend.
His 2 little girls.
His circus. His 2 children.
You should have seen their look when I called them double trouble.
Yeah, well.
They didn't disagree.
It's not wrong. So we had a wonderful time with them. I went with them to Toff's Ice Cream in Dairy in Sandusky and got delicious ice cream.
I did not go because over the last 2 weeks, I have logged more hours in a vehicle than I want to think about, and I've had it with driving.
Nah, ball itches, sorry. You know, Flosstube itchy nose, Flosstube face itchies.
You want to say I just realized?
What?
I have met more Flosstubers than I've seen on YouTube.
This is true. I watch Flosstube. He doesn't.
But all the Flosstubers I've met are awesome.
Most are. I also spent last week organizing my planner. What'd you say when I showed this to you? What'd you say when I showed this to you?
I think it was something along the lines of Dear God.
So, we have the happy planner that I won. The front portion is the calendar and all of the dates where I write all of my stuff. Then I sectioned off a section for my Stitch My Hours, which I caught up on also. I sectioned off a section. I made my own tabs out of scrapbook paper. I made my own tab sheets out of scrapbook paper. I had bought some blank insert sheets. The front's lined, the back's gridded, so I put Whipco on there and made my Whipco board on the back with the gridded. So if it's highlighted, that means I've completed the goal and it's been called. That's the free space. If it's got the box, it's been called. I haven't completed the goal. If it's got the X, I've completed the goal. It hasn't been called. And then over here, some of them, like Lady of the Flag, where I have my Whipco goal is 1,000 stitches. We'll just total this up over here. And when it gets called, over here, we'll say we've met that goal. Like my Scenic Farm, I've met my 500 stitch goal. I'm going to wait till she calls it to highlight the box that she calls when it lands because it's on there twice. So that's what we're doing with Whipco. And then I took the sheets. Oh, my 2020 goals. Everything I want to finish. My scavenger hunt piece. And then I took the other sheets, the other blank sheets. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm having fun.
And made each one a project record. That's got the project name, when I started it, when I finish it. I just started out fresh this year. Everything that was a WIP got written down. So when I finish it, it'll get a finish date. Anything that was finished before this doesn't have one of these papers. We'll live with it. Any changes I've made, because I'm the only one who honestly is going to care. And then if I have a goal for it, I have a section to put goals down. So like, this is Nativity. My goal is to finish the Angel in 2020. I would like to get a little bit farther than that, but you know. And then what project bag to find it in? Because quite often I'm sending him after a project bag and he's like, what project bag is it in? And I can give him a good description.
Yeah, because she goes, it's in the square one.
And then I've just got a folder page and the extra like pages. So I got my planner completely organized. We're good to go with the planner this year.
Honey, if I got any more organized to do the stitching for you.
Sometimes that would be helpful. Anyways.
Here, do Wiseman.
Here, work on Nativity. Okay, why don't you tell them who we got love from?
Love from Bridget, Angie, Gina, Lynn, Cheryl, Apple. No, it just took me a second. I was like, Ginger Apple? No, it's Gina Apple.
Gina Apple.
Ginger Apple, that sounds good. And I did eat.
He did.
I'm just goofball.
So, just saying, Nashville's coming up in a couple weeks. Nashville Needlework Market is coming up in a couple weeks. Lindy Stitches released her Nashville preview. She released it to everybody today, but if you're in her group, you got to see it last night. I'm excited.
Are you drooling?
Yes.
Am I taking out a second mortgage? Is it only because you're restraining yourself? I swear, she would want, and so to get the reference awesomeness, you would love a hyperbolic time chamber. Do you know why? 1 year and a day.
Anyways, I'm excited for Nashville. There's lots of stuff that I'm like, oh, that's pretty. Oh, that's pretty. But I'm tempering it with, okay, am I really going to stitch this?
Oh, can I look at it eventually?
No. Yes, you can look at it eventually.
I am cutting you off from buying anything after that bad comment. No money for you.
You're right.
Either that or I'll just have a stitch barbecue.
So we are excited to see all of the Nashville stuff. Why don't we talk about our whips? Whips.
Whoosh. No finishes?
No finishes. I'm working on FFOs, but they're not done yet, so y'all get to see them this week.
Okay, I have the Hyrule Light World map from The Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past. It is stitched on hand-dyed by the Slovak Farm, Lake Effect, morning 18 count. Yes, I wrote it down. That's how I remember. I didn't get much done. There's a little bit in here done. I didn't do much stitching this week.
No, you did not.
Well, some of my stitching time got eaten up by little munchkins.
I stitched while we were at Mother's house.
Yeah, you did.
I stitched while we were visiting the munchkins. Okay. So, would you like to know what I've learned this week? Would you like to know what I've learned this week?
Sure.
I've learned that doing 500 stitches on a workday for me is just rarely possible. Because I come home from work and I work, so.
Plus, there's...
How I'm going to deal with 500 each stitch prompts those weeks, I have yet to work it out.
You know my advice? Skip a prompt.
What I ended up doing this week was stitching as much as I could a night on each prompt, and then had extra time over the weekend and came back to it sort of kind of, that got a little mucked up yesterday. That worked. I may do that. I may do the prompt, however much time it takes, and just come back to the prompt if I have more time. You have 2 weeks to work on the prompts, so whatever.
Yeah, but they come out every week.
Yeah, but 1 week she does like a 300 max, and 1 week she does either 400 or 500 max. The 400 is
3 to 5
doable.
averages 400. So it's 350 to 400 stitches a week on average. Yes, I just average those numbers. Deal with it. I do that in my head.
So what I could theoretically do, because like last week was last week was chocolate week. The week prior was heart week. Right? Yeah. So heart week was a lower stitch totals.
Okay.
So I got them done faster. So what I theoretically could do is just take longer with those heavy weeks.
Basically, let's spill over to the next week.
Exactly. Because I am only in Cheryl's challenge group. Yes, I'm in a couple other challenge groups, but you don't have to.
Those you double dip everything, don't you?
Yeah, you don't have to connect prompts.
You don't want to. You don't need to figure out how this applies to this Disney princess's lost shield, or this Disney princess's love of teacups.
No, I'm not in those 2 groups.
I thought that was one group.
No, there's 2. Magical Stitches and Enchanted Stitches.
I was talking about the ones that were Guardian Leviosa last year, and this year
That was Magical
be
Stitches.
my guest, be my guest.
But they're not quite Disney Princess. They're doing a Disney theme. Anyways, I know all about it because of Virtual Stitchers.
No, when I think of Disney, I think of Disney princesses because I've lived with you for so long.
They're doing like a Disney. It's the book. They're doing 2 book series. The Villains and Disney After Dark, I think, is what if I recall. I'm not in the group, so I don't really know. WIPGO, I double dip in the sense that I have all year to meet those goals, and like with a lot of them, they're stitch count based. So when I get that one called, I go back and I see how many stitches I've. Like Cardinal Points got called for this month. 1,000 stitches on Cardinal Points got called for this month. I've already hit that stitch count.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, regardless.
3 minutes, and we're still waiting on your reps.
We'll get to it.
I love you.
Still haven't fixed this from ripping it last week. Don't much care. So, this week was chocolate week. So we had to relate something to Easter. My angel for my nativity set. Because there was an angel at Easter. And the dissertation I gave you last week about the frankincense and the myrrh, which nobody knew, which everyone was like, I never knew that. I'm like, aren't you glad I'm here?
It's starting to look like something other than a green blob.
It is 505 stitches. Most of it was up in her head and her hair and in here. There was a little bit down in here. But 505 stitches on her. It looks like something more than a blob. And I'm going to say she's probably about 50% stitched. And I'm doing the back stitching on this all at once. Normally I back stitch as I go. I tried that with the Wise Man. I got myself all confused.
Would you like to know how I handle back stitching, dear?
Huh.
I don't do projects with back stitching.
A lot of my projects don't like that.
I don't like it because my problem is that like with the one I did with the coffee, the lines for the grid where every 10th line gets thicker was also the lines for the back stitching, but it was all one color. So I had to look at the picture and try to guess where the back stitching was, and that annoyed me greatly.
Okay. So I remember why we had to stitch on something that had something inside of something. Oh, something about Reese's and Mars bars. I chose Ride for Singing because it's inside the border. There's actually 2 borders. I'm only stitching one of them. But still, it's inside a border. This is one of those, I went back and stitched on it after I got to the initial stitch count. So I had stitched 422 stitches on it earlier in the week. Yesterday, I took this with us to my mother's house. Toff's Dairy is about an hour from my parents' house. This is... I bet it's not. This is easy car stitching because I was working on border. So this is what I had with me in the car because it was easy. Here it is all together.
What's funny is the easiest part of this you haven't started yet.
I know. I'm down to pretty much everything's easy on this. So this is on a 14 count pink champagne by Silk Weavers.
Opalescence.
It's not opalescence.
There it was.
It's not sparkling. So I ended up stitching 564 stitches because, like I said, I was stitching on it in the car and it was easy car stitching. And well, anyways,
one thing led to another. Next thing you know, she spent too much time with her friends.
So what I stitched on was. Can I have some extra hands, please?
What do you need?
Hold. I stitched from this bright blue flower over, there's a yellow flower there. So, and then the corner is after that yellow flower, and then I started the drop of the border. I'm going to stitch down to the yellow flower and then do the corner piece. And then the border will be done, guys. It's almost done. We'll finish this in 2020. I totally think that's doable. Unless, for some reason, something crazy happens.
You do 30 other projects at the same time.
I'm pretty much determined on this one. So, that was 564 stitches. I already told you that. Okay. That's not the one I want. Then I had to stitch on something. It takes 400 cacao beans to make a bar of chocolate. So I had to stitch on something that had something on it that repeated 4 or more times. So, Main Street. This is on a piece of hand dyed by the Slovak farm. This is a solo. Nope, I can't repeat it.
Hey, honey, we're on Home Improvement. We're the neighbors.
I know. Mr. Wilson. So
bonus points if you get the reference.
Each one of the blocks has the border on the top and the bottom. They're the exact same on the top and the bottom. There's 10 of them. Plus any of the blocks with the light poles. It's the same light pole. The trees are the same.
But it's reuse, recycle.
So there's lots of things on here that actually repeat.
Because technically they're 10 different patterns.
Yes. What I worked on was the dress shop. I filled in the door, put the windowsill in, put the dress in, the 2 dresses and the hat in, started on the tree, got the fence in, and that was 500. That was 407 stitches. Because we only need 400 stitches for that, because 400 cacao beans for bar of chocolate. There was no options on that one. It was 400 stitches or nothing.
You will get
So,
400.
Goal is, for this year, the goal is to finish through the dress shop.
I think you might be able to finish that whole thing.
Which is here. After the dress shop, there's 4 more buildings to be finished. Could I finish the whole thing this year? I could. I'm not going to bust a button try.
But it fits so many prompts.
But it does fit prompts. So.
All the time.
A lot.
Especially when she asks me.
So. You know. Okay. Next. We had to stitch on. Oh, we had to stitch Baker's chocolate. It's not just for baking. Baker's brand chocolate. It's not just for baking. So we had to stitch on something where the focus was not in the name of the chart. This is called cardinal points. Cardinal points are the north, south, east, west, if you don't know that. Even the cardinals on this are not really a focus. The flowers are really the focus here, if you ask me. There's a lot of flowers on here. A lot of different flowers. The flowers are really the focus, my opinion. Suppose we'll find out if my grader agrees with me or not. But this was another one. I did the initial 400 some odd stitches, and Saturday evening I had finished the monthly that I was working on, so I came back to it and put in an additional 100 or so stitches. So here we are. This is on a piece of hem dyed by the Slovak farm, Cleveland Fog. Cleveland Fog. It's blown up blue. So there's the whole thing. This is an 18 count. I stitched the bird, the W, its little border, there's like a flower here, a dragonfly, or nope, that's a butterfly. I don't know what that is actually.
Me?
I think it's a butterfly.
That's a butterfly.
And then this down here, along with the dog and the little flowers on it. I put down last week when I was writing out my planner pages for all of my projects, I said my goal on this for 2020 is to finish a page. That's a page, basically. I didn't realize I was quite that close to a page finish. There's like, the overlaps on the pattern are 10, or like strips of 10 along the sides and along the bottom. So there's some overlapping, but basically I have a page finish. The big cardinal that's in the middle, the north cardinal, takes up most of the second page. I may edit my goal to that be my goal for the year. I may just stick with 2,000 stitches because that's my whip goal on it. And I'm like halfway there. I'm better than halfway there. We'll see what I decide to do. I haven't got that far yet. I need to work out whip go. I need to add my stitches up for my ongoing whip go project stitch counts for this week. Okay, so cardinal point. So then Saturday, I took with me to market something easy to stitch on because market was a little bit easier. I could have taken my last prompt piece to market. I didn't. I was feeling lazy.
At least she's honest.
I'm honest. So I did. The cat is helping. I did my monthly prompt.
It's no encouragement from me.
For the monthly, I just called to say I love you. Something about no April showers. Hi, kitty. No April showers, no flowers bloom. Something like that. Something like that. I just called to say I love you by Lionel Richie. Cat's still in my lap. Trying to adjust.
He's really into that book.
Anyways, I just called to say I love you. Flowers bloom.
Bye, cat.
My flowers don't need April showers to bloom. My flowers are stitched, so they bloom all the time. That was my tie-in. If it's acceptable, great. If it's not, to you.
I love you.
At least I'm honest. This is just on the Kit 11 Count Ada. That sucks. I got the kit off of eBay. It's no longer available.
Exhibit A. It's too much starch.
It's a little stiff, as you can tell. I was having issues with it on the Q-snap, so I switched to the hoop. I mean, really, it didn't even leave it on the hoop that long. So, most of my stitching was this, these, this, and this. And that was 504 stitches. And I screwed up the colors on these flowers, but you can't tell.
Unless you point it out.
I'm not going to tell you what I did. Okay. Brings us to the last prompt of the week. I kind of sort of have cheated.
Cheryl, are you watching this? Cheater, pumpkin eater.
Not like that. Normally when I do my stitch totals for the week, it is Monday through Sunday. However, because of all the running around and the fussing around yesterday, I barely crossed 300 stitches on my last prompt. I knew I was going to want to stitch more. I knew I could. So I finished up the 500 stitches today because it was a big block of color and it was easy to stitch this afternoon after I gave up on trying to work in my craft room because my sewing machine and I were disagreeing.
I recommended hitting it with a rubber hammer, and she said you already smacked it.
I smacked it. So,
A woman after my own heart.
the prompt was that the Aztecs used cacao beans as currency, so we had to stitch on something that cost more than 20 cacao beans, which Cheryl told us a cacao bean equaled $1. I give you Lady of the Flag.
What about that was cheap?
Hand-dyed fabric, 5 different kinds of beads, 3 of which call for 2 packages, 2 Krynics, 1 of which calls for 2 spools.
Stop.
I don't even know how many. Over 50 DMC flosses, including multiple skeins.
The money.
Oh, and I didn't even account for the price to get this fabric because I didn't pay out
This pattern.
to get this pattern because I didn't pay out of print pricing for this pattern.
The out of print pricing for that pattern.
I mean, the out of print pricing on this pattern alone more than quadruples. More than $20.
I was gonna say add a 0.
Yeah.
Because that thing's like what, $40-$60 normally?
Oh no, it retailed for I think $15-$20. The standard, it retailed for the standard memorabilia price. It's just so in demand right anyway. I'm not sure what the cat just did, but something just clanged, and banged. So here we have Lady of the Flag.
It's a flag.
Looking at it now, I'm stitching it up close. This red stripe here, this is mostly what I stitched on, was this red stripe here. Up close stitching it, I'm like, these colors are not playing well together. But it looks better now. So I got 519 stitches on this. Little bit of white in here. Most of it's this red stripe here and this red clump here. As you can tell, this red clump's not quite exactly done. I need to finish that.
Get on it!
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So that was my stitching for the week.
Total is?
So for Chocolate Week, I did a total of 2,495 stitches. For my monthly prompt, I did 504 stitches.
Why the peak at the end?
I don't know.
Stitches!
Just because that's what I did. For a total of 2,999 stitches. I need to put one more stitch in something. Damn it.
Get away from me. No, not me. Not me. Not me. No.
That is my highest stitch total ever.
And she's complaining about not having enough time.
And I think I don't have enough time to stitch. I mean, that's in addition to working a job outside of the home Monday through Friday, coming home and working most days until 3 or 4, teaching PSR. I didn't have any training. My training for work is all done. Yay! And filming Flosstube.
Yippee!
So I did have a pretty rock star stitching week. Even if it kind of started last Sunday and bled over to this today.
Okay.
So that's my stitching for the week. For the stitched my hours that I have been alive. I went back and I did it all and I figured it all out. So 1983 technically my birthday is April 6, 1983. I don't know the exact hour I was born. I didn't ask my mother. Whatever.
What is this?
I just counted the whole day. You're supposed to, for every hour you've been alive, you stitch one stitch. So, from April 6, 1983 to December 31st, 1983, I needed to stitch 6,480 stitches. I started on December 1st. I got to that goal on December 30th, 2019. 1984 was a leap year, so it had 8,784 hours in it. I started that goal on December 30th, 2019. I finished that goal on January 25th, 2020. 1985 has 8,760 stitches on it. I started it on January 25th, 2020. Pretty sure I have finished it at this point. I need to go back with, I think that with this week's totals. I think when I added last week's totals, I think when I added the totals, I wasn't quite there yet. I think last week's totals, at some point I'll get there. I'll let you know next week.
I love you. You scare me.
And we have haul this week.
Okay, good.
Moving on to haul. Haul, y'all.
She hobby hobby y'all.
Time for his favorite game.
Yay! Oh, did she hear you?
What?
Those are different colors.
She must have. We got some color change ups.
Golden tassel.
It is a nice golden brown. It's more brown than gold. It's coming across really gold. It's called Old Aztec. We know already my colors. Colors just look funky on our camera.
On those cameras.
Yellow.
Beige?
No, not beige. Prairie flower.
I think of like blues and stuff. I think of prairie flowers.
Just a blue. Dark blue.
Not even a dark blue. It's a blue
like
blue.
Medium blue.
It's almost a blue blue. It's a little darker, but
It's a nice antique blue. A prim.
Lapis lazuli.
Yeah. Old prim blue. That's where I was trying to go with that.
I'm not taking hints. I purposely avoided it.
It's a lovely dark green. Kind of very
variegated too.
Very variegated. Pine leafy looking.
That's what I was going to say, pine tree.
Mont green.
Monnet.
Mont green. A very nice coral. It's kind of a dark coral, but it's coral.
It's red.
It's coral. Red. It's peachy red. It's coral.
Grapefruit heart. Looks like it's the inside color of a grapefruit, doesn't it?
New coral reef.
As I said, I'm purposely avoiding your freaking hints. Stop it.
You're never gonna guess this one. It's a nice light sky blue.
Mediterranean Sea.
She didn't name it anything. She just called it February special.
Easy! Easy one! Easy one!
Stitch night is Friday night, so there may be haul next week. I think most of my money may get spent on market stuff. Moving on to plans. Plans and announcements.
Mm-hmm.
What's your plan? Zelda.
I have no freaking clue which one I'm going to stitch. I might stitch them both this week.
Whatever makes you happy. We have no market on Saturday.
Exactly. I was thinking about doing Dragons on Saturday and Zelda on Sunday.
We get some lazy around time. We do have a little bit of stuff to do in the house. We're supposed to be meeting with the Greyhound lady on Tuesday. We'll see if that actually happens. I'll update you on that front when we get that far. Moving along. Leap week in Daily 30. I forgot to say this during whips. Daily 30 is a closed group. It is not open. If there becomes openings, I'll let you know.
But they're kind of first come, first serve.
But they are first come, first serve. Okay,
and they have a slight amount of demand.
They are in demand. Leap week in Daily 30, because we're going into the leap year, and this ends on the 20th, and this weekend's on the 28th. So there are 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 46 seconds in a year, technically, in one rotation of the sun.
365.26.
So every 4 years we add an extra day, so that things like the spring and autumn equinox stay where they're supposed to on the calendar.
Or random tidbit info now?
Sure.
It's 365.26. I actually asked my teacher, what about that 0.01? He's like, over the course of the year, they gently adjust the clocks to compensate for that one itty bitty little bit.
Yeah.
So they actually muck with the time just a little bit. The more you know.
The more you know. So we have to stitch on something that has a sun, or we can tie into spring or autumn. I got a little creative. Google is my friend. King Alfred the Great, who the quote on Ride Forth Singing is attributed to: "If thou hast a fearful thought, tell it not two-weekling, whisper it to thy saddle bow and ride forth singing. Died on October 26, 899. That would be the fall. That ties in. It works. I'm going with it. I'm going with it, people.
Go, 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 go.
Did you know
No.
that it is acceptable? Well, okay, so we live in a world where it is acceptable for a woman to propose to a man. But until we hit modern times, it was actually considered acceptable for a woman to propose to a man on February 29th.
You got 1 day out of 4 years?
We got 1 day out of 4 years. Because a woman by the name of St. Bridget complained to a pastor by the name of St. Patrick about waiting for men to propose, and women didn't like that. So he agreed that women could be allowed to propose on February 29th.
I wonder how many men every 4 years went, well, crap. My choices are get married or die. Because women still are dangerous.
So we had to. So our prompt is to stitch on a piece that we had to wait to start. What prompted it? What do you think I picked, honey?
The New Year's Fairy. Because you had to wait to start that stitch along with it for it.
I'm not technically doing the stitch along.
But you waited until they started it before you did it, didn't you?
Well, okay, yeah, so it was technically part of a stitch along. You're right. I'm sorry. He's got a point.
What'd you pick?
Although, I went with Lady of the Flag, mainly because I had to wait a while to get the pattern. And then once I got the pattern, and I dyed the fabric, and kitted it all up, I had to wait till September 11th to start it. Well, I didn't have to wait till September 11th to start it.
That's when you started your stitching thing.
But I waited till September 11th to start it.
You do a lot of waiting for stitches. You do stitch alongs.
I do.
Well, you start stitch alongs. You never finish stitch alongs with everybody else.
I don't. I usually end up stitch along with me. Usually ends up being a stitch along.
Well, or you could beat Heather. Oh, I don't think he's finished the tree of stitches yet, has she?
She's not the only one. Heather, where have you been, by the way?
Yeah, hi,
I have to
Heather.
yell at her.
Hi, stranger. Now you have to watch the video. Laura, tell her. Joe said hi. She has to watch the video
I
now.
will.
Well,
I will. When Laura agrees to do a stitch along, it usually ends up being a stitch along. Even when she plans it herself. Anyways.
because it has to fit your arms.
There is one being, I don't know how to put this, that celebrates February 30th. The Hobbit calendar is made up of 12 30-day months. We have to tie something into Lord of the Rings.
If you had trouble with this one, young lady, I'm seriously going to call some people with some white coats, a shiny jacket for you, and some nice padded room.
I got to Hobbits in the prompt and went, I don't care what she's telling me I have to stitch on. Somehow we are tying this in.
And then it's just like, Lord of the Rings. Like, did she watch your video and go, I want to do a Lord of the Rings one now? Cheryl, please tell me, which came first? I want to know which one's the chicken and which one's the egg.
Then I got to tie it into Lord of the Rings and I went, well, gee. Hashtag duh. We'll be putting some more stitches in on Argon and Arwen. Hashtag obviously duh.
Because that has nothing to do with the movies.
Nothing at all.
Or the books. Heck, I believe that scene's even in the cartoon.
I don't need that. Okay. So, leaplings, or leapers as they can be called.
Poor SOBs.
Right? Have a date of birth of leap day.
February 29th, for those not paying attention.
I know someone whose date of birth is leap day.
Who?
Michelle Ferry. Michelle.
That explains a few things.
Her daughter's birthday is leap day.
I would not be surprised if she did that on purpose.
I don't think she did. So we have to stitch. So we have to stitch something that we started for a birthday or a sal, or in honor of a birthday, or birthday sal. Blah 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 blah. Whoa. Excuse me. I haven't stitched. I started my Beauty and the Beast for my birthday sal. Most of the other birthday sals I've participated haven't asked you to start anything. I don't know. Because I'm not nice and I don't know. I am nice. I do join sals that start stuff. Just I don't have any that I'm working on right now that are birthday related. But I did start Nativity in honor of Jesus' birthday. So we're going to stitch on this because it ties into starting something for a birthday.
Yeah, like only the most well-known birthday ever.
Basically.
Considering it's written in the most well-known book ever.
Okay. I'm almost done. There are... Ain't gonna be able to make the 7 o'clock weather tonight. There are multiple proverbs associated with leap year. Cheryl picked the Scottish proverb of leap year was ne'er a good year. Leap year was ne'er a good sheep year. Because she wants us to stitch on sheep.
What the what?
I don't ask questions.
By the way, just get some wolf floss or something.
No, it's gotta be an actual sheep.
Meanie, some cotton balls and some twigs. You never made a sheep as a kid with some cotton balls and some twigs?
I did. Normally, I'm not the kind of person that would start something just to fulfill a prompt. However, we are closing in on the retreat, which is April 3rd and 4th in downtown Cleveland. If you want to come, you need to have... Yeah, it's April 3rd and 4th in downtown Cleveland. If you want to come, you need to have... I'm asking that you have... The hotel will not guarantee booking rate, the group booking rate after March 3rd. I'm asking that you have everything paid up with me by March 3rd. I guess I could say at least your deposit paid by March 3rd. That way I can make sure I have enough goodie bag stuff because we're kind of on that bubble of people. 24, 25 is about where we hit the bubble of having to get another pack of stuff sometimes. So, all that to say, we're doing a gift exchange box. We have to stitch something for the gift exchange box. I don't know if I'm going to make a pin cushion or a scissor fob, but there's a couple things on Heartstring Samplery's Festive Little Fobs Barnyard Edition that have sheep on them. That I think would make cute little, either cute little scissor fobs or a cute little pin pillow. I don't think, pretty sure that guy ain't got 300 stitches in him. But I'm willing to bet that guy's got 300 stitches in him.
You want to hear something really funny?
What?
You could just say they're all related so you can do this guy and then you can do that guy. So you say, I did, one of them had sheep in it, and it's a set, so I did two. So you can do a sheep about to get run over by a tractor. It's the right color, at least.
It's the right color. To be fair, though, I think this little guy would just be better. I don't know. It's more.
Do you want me to say something?
Are you going to participate in the gift exchange?
I have no idea.
Because if you are, we need to get on that. Because the gift exchange, if you're coming to the retreat and you don't know this, the gift exchange is not just a smalls exchange. It's a gift exchange box, and we're going to be opening individual presents.
Okay, we'll talk about this after
all day during
video.
Saturday.
We'll talk about this after the video.
I've got fun stuff planned for throughout the day Saturday.
I guess we don't need to do the announcement section.
Well, yeah, we're kind of doing the announcements with this. That's it for the plans. The bonus this week is to stitch on something with a frog on it. I don't have anything with frog on it, and I'm not certain anything with frog on it. What?
Stitch on something you've had to rip it.
Nope. Can't do that.
She already said it.
Basically. It's got to be an actual stitched frog. You cannot spin it in any way. Because you know my smart aleckness.
Okay, I am actually going to look for a pattern with a frog in a web. So that way you can say you found a way to spin it.
If you find that, I might actually stitch it. Anyways, so that's plans. Announcements, we already told you about the retreat. I've got lots of fun things planned for the retreat. Some of them they know about in the group, and some of them are going to be a surprise. Yippee. Okay, that's it for the week. What do we want the people to do?
Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Like, share, comment. There's a little bell thing that lets you know.
Click the little dingy bell.
Click the little dingy bell.
One of my homesteading videos that I watch, she says click the little dingy bell when you subscribe so you know when I post new content.
Yeah. And follow her on social media because I don't give a crap.
At least he's honest, people.
I use social media to keep up with my family. And to see cat videos.
Excuse me.
That's my social media.
That's it for our stitching week, guys.
Bye. Bye.